All right, welcome back everybody to another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. Once again, this is your boy Christian, and I am here because today we're going to talk a little bit about the Dynamo. But before we do that, let's give out social media so you guys can keep up and stuff like that. Not keep up with me, but just talk and interact with one another. Chris Putallaz, Crisputallaz. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and then you can also find the show specifically and on Instagram under QuattroQuattroDos, which is QuattroQuattroDos. You can also find this video if you're watching, or if you're listening, you can watch the actual video of the podcast on the YouTube channel as well. Also, well, maybe not right now, but probably in 2021. I will be starting a Twitter for this thing, and then we'll start exploring other stuff. I'm kind of slow when it comes to technology, and also I don't keep up with it. So I do keep up. I just I'm not as active as other people are. But whenever 2020 comes and we see what we can do, we'll probably get like a Twitch or something like that, and then we can do some stuff live and record the episodes live, and just do a bunch of other stuff that maybe this year we probably won't be able to get to, just because 2020 has been shitty either way, right? But before we get into the Dynamo and do a little breakdown of the Minnesota game and the SKC game, we'll talk a little bit about the Dash, the ladies over here. I think I already mentioned this on the live Instagram live that I did I think it was a Twitter live that I did a few days back, probably about a week ago. And I talked about how they were re-signing everybody. Daly got re-signed, Shea Groom, Campbell, Oyster, Hutton, I can't say her name. But you know who I'm talking about. And then who else? I think that was it. But it was mainly like the most famous ones, basically, right? But I should have wrote them down, but it's okay. But yeah, they have been signed, most of them, to like a 3-year contract, which is good because that means that this team that has done really, really well in the past, or at least in the past tournament, in the Challenge Cup, will be sticking together. So that's always a good thing for winning teams, trying to keep that base of players together and have them compete and stuff like that. So the future for the Houston Dynamo and for women's soccer here in Houston is looking pretty bright, due to the fact that we have a pretty good, strong base of players, and then we can just keep adding to that, and build a culture around it, a winning culture, for that matter. But talking about winning culture and talking about playing, actually the NWSL is coming out, actually started yesterday. Today is Monday the 6th. I'm tripping. Sunday the 6th, but they started yesterday. The first game was actually Sky Blue. They beat 2-1 to Spirit. And basically what the NWSL did was divide the whole league of 9 teams into three groups of 3 bubbles of 3. Which include, for example, in the South, you have the Dash, the NC Courage, North Carolina Courage, and Orlando Pride. And then on the West side, you'll have the Utah Royals, the Portland Thorns, and the OL Reign. And then on the East side, kind of east-north, you have Washington Spirit, Chicago Red Stars, and Sky Blue. So, being that said, the Dash actually are back in action here in September, this week coming up. On Friday, the 11th of September, the Dash will be taking on NC Courage over there, I believe, in Courage, North Carolina, at 7 p.m. And you can actually watch that on Twitch on 9/26, on September 26th. It's a Saturday at 8:30 p.m. actually here in Houston. We'll be taking on Orlando Pride. Also, you can watch that on Twitch. Hopefully, since it's here in Houston at BBVA, hopefully I'll be able to make it out. First we got to see how the protocols it's going to be with the NWSL, but if it's anything like the MLS, then they're probably going to give press passes. which, keep your fingers crossed I'll be able to attend those and actually attend my first NWSL match, my first Dash match, which is going to be very interesting because I'm looking forward to following this team as well as I am the Dynamo. And then also on Sunday, October 4th at 7 p.m., it's a Sunday, we are playing again North Carolina Courage. Also on Twitch, you can watch it, and it's also going to be here at home. So it's going to be a pretty good series of games. I imagine there's probably going to be like some type of, honestly, I don't know. But I imagine there's going to be some type of either like playoff or there's going to be like a mixing of groups. But we'll see how that happens, because you can't just have all the teams play each other unless you're Canadian in the MLS and you are stuck playing Vancouver. Who else? Toronto and Montreal. That they're all playing each other because they can't leave the country basically. But we'll see how it works. The NWSL actually has a good track record of actually putting better. It's a lot easier because there are only 9 teams. But they have a really good record of putting really good, pretty good material out there basically, if we can say that. Hey, look at this one. It's badass, huh? But it's going to be interesting. Actually interesting to see how the Dash is going to do without Daly, Rachel Daly, who has been loaned to West Ham United, I believe. So West Ham United, so she's over there playing in England. I think she'll be there till like the end of the year, which basically, that's when the season ends here, and then it starts usually next year somewhere. So usually that's what women players do actually. They play here, and then whenever they're done here, they play somewhere else. Usually in Australia. Now a lot of leagues, a lot of women's leagues, maybe, I don't know if it's my impression of it, but there's a lot of women's league popping up. For example, the Champions League was a big hit. The Women's Champions League was a pretty big hit. UEFA Champions League, to be more specific. And a lot of these leagues are, at least to me, are coming to the forefront. I've been seeing, also talking to Melina, who does the podcast about women's soccer. What was the name of it? It's okay. I'm gonna write myself a note and I'm gonna put it on the description below so you can follow it. Basically, what they do is they follow women's soccer throughout the world, and then they talk about it. It's something Haces de los goles or something like that. Goles, I don't know. But like I said, I'm gonna put it on the bottom. I promise. But basically, I'm terrible with names. So if you know by now, if you've been listening, I'm terrible with names. So, Haz del Gol or something like that. But Magia del Gol, Magia, what it does, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop trying. But basically, I'm gonna put it there. So if you're interested in women's soccer, go ahead and check them out. Also, there's another show that I just became aware of that is also talking about women's soccer. I'm gonna go ahead and find that one too. So if you're interested about anything women's soccer, obviously better than what I can actually cover, I'm gonna go ahead and put all those shows on below. I'm gonna go ahead and myself write a note. Women's soccer is actually a guy that also writes for Dynamo Theory. So Theodore and his sister Theo, I guess. I don't know. Theodore sounds weird, but Theo and his sister actually have a women's soccer podcast. So it's pretty cool. So if you're a fan of anything Dynamo Theory, if you're a fan of QuattroQuattroDos, go ahead and check the guys out, the guy and the girl, I guess. Like I said, I'm gonna put all the descriptions below, so you guys can go ahead and give them a follow, give them a listen, and be, which is also something that I have to do, be a little bit more in touch with women's soccer because it's definitely growing in this world, and it's actually sometimes a lot better than guys soccer. So being that said, I also go listen to actually the Dash, which they're very Dash specific. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that too. I'm gonna go ahead and write that too because I'm gonna forget. And then, damn, that's 3 different podcasts right there about women's soccer. So like I said, if you want to be a little bit more into women's soccer, go ahead and check those guys out. It's gonna be on the description below. But now let's go ahead and talk about the Dynamo, who I am a little bit more aware of. So the Dynamo has been, I guess we can say, on a streak now. 3 games in a row, 3 wins out of the last 4 games of the comeback into this MLS, into this new normal that we call soccer here in the United States. And the Dynamo, honestly, like, since the MLS is back tournament, a lot of people didn't like it just because the Dynamo kind of, wasn't able to go into the next phase. But if you actually look back at those games, I think I already mentioned this like a zillion times, but if you actually go back and look at those games, the Dynamo did not do that bad. Like, when you go, obviously the results weren't there, but if you go look at the style of play and the way that they were playing, I mean, you can't really talk down on them in a way. You had a 3-3 tie with LAFC, which is probably one of the best teams right now in the MLS, or at least at that time it was. You had a 2-1 loss to Portland, which was a very fought game. I mean, we fought them till the end, basically, and then with the LA Galaxy, a stupid mistake at the end kind of led that into whatever it was, But, that was probably our worst game, but it was probably just because towards the end we kind of ended up going back and, we kind of let go of everything. But, I'm not going to talk about that much. But basically, I'm just trying to say that the Dynamo has been showing some kind of signs of improvement when it comes to, soccer, when it comes to, like, last year with Wilmer Cabrera, where technically we were just a counter-attacking team. And if you have seen these past 2 games, even including the Kansas City that I'm pretty sure I talked about that in the last episode, you'll see that the Houston Dynamo has been a team that actually has the possession of the ball in most of the games. Actually, in these 2 games, we actually have 1 possession of the ball, throughout the whole match. And the first halves have been like very Dynamo controlled halves, and which is very interesting for, if you've been following the team for at least a couple of years, you can really see the difference in that. But let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about that Minnesota game here at BBVA. I was lucky enough to actually be in the stadium. The little perks of doing stuff. And following the team, so I was able to get in there. I was able to go. I was able to, be there. I was going to say interact with people, but to be honest, I don't really interact with people. I'm kind of a weird loner type of person. And I see people and I say hi and stuff like that. I'm polite in a way, but it's just weird. I don't know. I'm pretty awkward. I'm socially awkward myself, so it's kind of weird, But, really good people. Shout out to Federico from Futbol Dynamo, who is he's legit, like a professional almost. I don't know if he's a professional or not, but he for sure sounds like a professional. So if you're looking for Dynamo coverage in Spanish, Futbol Dynamo is probably the best way to go right now. He's doing a lot of interviews, press conferences. He's asking like literally all the right questions. He also follows RGV, so if you're interested in that, go check him out. Obviously, mine is more like opinion-based podcast. His is more like information-based. And also, he's really good. He's really knowledgeable in soccer. And then he has like those table discussions with other people that follow the Dynamo. So it's pretty cool, pretty interesting show. Also, you can follow the guys in English, the Peel, Generation Orange, Keeping Tabs, and I don't think I'm missing anybody else for now, at least. And if I do, I apologize. But yeah, let's talk about this Minnesota game. So this Minnesota game was very, very interesting because we just came out of like a high of beating Kansas City 5-2. Literally the number 1 seeded team, like still till this day, even though they have lost 2 games to us, I looked at the record in this last 4 games, they haven't won any of them. They lost 2 to us, and I think they tied the other 2. So basically, they're going through a bad stretch right now because they can't win. But they're still on top, which is very, very crazy because they have so much advantage between the first 2 games of the year and then the MLS is back tournament. They were able to get that gap, of points that right now they're still comfortably sitting up top, even though they haven't won a game in any of their last 4 games. But coming from there, going into a Minnesota that also had a pretty good MLS is back tournament, it was like a trial for us. Like literally, even Coach Tab Ramos, there was somebody asked him about if he was nervous about coming back to playing at home and coming from a big win, and what did this game mean for him, and he answered that he was actually not looking forward to a possible letdown, but he was afraid of a possible letdown. Coming from a giant win 5-2 against Kansas City, coming back home, you kind of have that pressure on you because you're like, I kind of have to win. I kind of have to show that 5-2 in Kansas City wasn't luck, but it was like hard work, consistency, fighting and, balling out and putting a good, soccer clinic over there. And a 3-0 basically kind of shut down those fears of being a like lucky team, or we got a lucky break, we got a lucky game in Kansas City. It kind of showed that the Houston Dynamo is actually doing a turn, and I'm not afraid to say that a lot of people are scared to say that this is a new Dynamo. They're also afraid of this letdown because they have seen that before, especially last year, for example, that we had our best start like in history, basically, if I'm not mistaken, and literally we almost ended second to last in the whole like general table, which obviously terrible, right? But I think we are, as Dynamo fans, we're kind of like scared of being let down, as we have been let down for the past few years. But right now, as I am very confident after seeing these 3 games and actually seeing that Dallas game that we tied 0-0, I am very confident to say that we are seeing a new Dynamo. We are seeing a Dynamo, and not only because of the style of playing, but also the confidence of the players and the coach, which I'm actually going to get to that towards the end. But for now, I want to go ahead and continue on Minnesota. So Minnesota, as you guys know, probably the star of this game specifically, because to be honest, I'm going to talk about the different names that lately have been catching our eyes, basically. But for example, on this game, first half we had slight possession, like we had a very slight more possession than Minnesota did. We ended the game with a 53-47 possession, and we ended up with 21 shots on goal, and they ended up not on goal, but just 21 shots, and they ended up with 13. As you guys know, we won 3-0. We had Quinteros score that first goal in minute 27. Memo had kind of came from kind of left to right, kind of trying to dribble it in himself. He didn't get to it, tapped it to Quinteros. Quinteros put it away. He has been literally a game changer in this team. So I wrote down best chances for Minnesota came from mistakes. So basically, we didn't even give Minnesota the time of day for them to attack. Like we literally shut them down. I mean, this team has been super, super solid, and literally all their chances that they got were literally from our mistakes, something that we did wrong, some wrong passes and stuff like that. Lassiter, that combination of Ellis and Lassiter coming in towards the end, not even at the end, literally in the beginning of the second half, minute 55, they both came in at the same time. And the second goal, first one for Lassiter, came in at minute 65, literally 10 minutes after he walked into his first his second wave of MLS games. But first game with the Houston Dynamo. And then 5 minutes later or 4 minutes later, minute 69, he scored the second goal, also from an assist from Ellis. So a lot of people were very, very excited to see Ari play. Ari, I don't know. His name is Ariel, which is my middle name. Shout out, haha. But they call him Ari, but I think I'm gonna call him Ariel. I'm gonna call him Ariel because it's kind of weird, Ari. But Ariel, see, that sounds weird too. I'm gonna call him Ari, whatever. So Ari came in second half, literally almost beginning of the second half. We started with I was gonna say Maravanotas, but no, Cristian Ramirez, who unfortunately has been having pretty weak games. He has had a couple of chances on each game that he wasn't able to put away, which unfortunately is not a good look for him. But also we know that sometimes forwards go through those ups and downs, and hopefully he'll recover because he from this kind of drought of as a forward. A forward wants to score, he needs to score to kind of survive. It's kind of like in their spirit basically. But shout out to all right, like I was saying, so Cristian Ramirez coming back, well, not coming back, but actually having two bad, not so great games. He had a few chances, he wasn't able to put them away, which gave the opportunity for Lassiter to come in, and obviously he had a heck of a game against Minnesota. Literally 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, 2 goals in. And then he kind of played an okay game. He was not bad. He was able to open up the space. He's very, very fast. And then actually, whenever people in the press conference asked Tab Ramos, did you expect this from Ari Lassiter coming in? And I was like, did you know how good he was going to be? Did you know that he was going to be such a difference maker? Scoring 2 goals and stuff like that. And basically, Tab Ramos answered, I always knew his potential. That's basically the reason why we brought him in, because we knew how good of a player he is. We knew how much of a difference maker he was. He had him in his national teams back in the day, so he knew exactly who he was bringing in whenever he brought Ari Lassiter. And actually, talking to him in the press conference, they asked him about what is first game, 2 goals, what are your thoughts? Why did you come to Houston? What's going through your mind and stuff like that, And basically what Adi said, he was like, I'm trying to play in the World Cup with Costa Rica, and I'm trying to do the best, whatever the best chance I have to make it into that World Cup, I'm going to take it. And he saw the Houston Dynamo as a big step coming from, Alajuelense, who is probably one of the biggest teams in Costa Rica. He said, in his mind, coming to the MLS was going to give him a little bit of more notoriety, if that's a word, to be able to show off a little bit of his skills and what he has to offer, and maybe, get that. I mean, he's been called to the Costa Rican national team, but, he wants to be in it to, compete in the qualifiers and actually make it to the World Cup. So, shout out to Adi. Obviously, he's making a good impression, and hopefully, he's able to achieve it, but also by giving the Dynamo an extra hand, Then also, a question that was very interesting that somebody asked Coach Tab Ramos was what was his conversations like with Quinteros? Quinteros coming literally in a trade this past offseason from Minnesota, and how do sometimes players, when they play with their old teams, they kind of tend to tone it down just because they don't want to do as much damage, because of the affection was there, so he asked him, hey, are you okay, are you motivated for this game? And literally word for word what Coach Tab Ramos said that Quinteros told him was Coach, I'm motivated every single game. You don't have to worry about me. It doesn't matter who we play against, I'm going to be killing it, basically. And you can actually tell that, from the beginning of the games, against Dallas, against, SKC over there, against SKC or against Minnesota, he literally has been one of the people that has been the game changer for us, in one way or another. And actually, you're going to see this right now, because we're going to talk about the SKC games, and you're going to see basically a trend of how these basically we won 2-1. All right, let's go ahead and jump on it. So we had SKC this past Saturday here in Houston, and we beat them 2-1. We started losing 1-0 in the first half. They scored at minute 29. Whenever the game was pretty even, there wasn't a lot of, there was some back and forth, but most of the game kind of, SKC came out with a really, really well put together team. They were very compacted in the midfield. The defense was pressing pretty high, so there wasn't a lot of space between forwards, midfield, and defenders. So they were very compacted. They literally put 5 people in the back, so they made it extra hard for Cristian Ramirez to find some space to make runs, to find a hole, and then Hansen didn't have that much of a good game as he did in Kansas City over there. And then, kind of Memo also was a little bit lost. He was able to get some few touches here and there, but he was kind of lost. But Quinteros was literally the game changer in this time, because he was literally the one that gave Hansen the one-on-one pass minute 18, so he can be with the goalie, which he totally screwed up. He missed in front of the goalie. Those are the ones basically that you have to put away. That was his only chance of the game, and he wasn't able to put it away. And then he was also the guy that gave the through ball. Quintero was the guy that gave the through ball to Cristian Ramirez in minute 42 for the tie. And then Cristian Ramirez hit the crossbar, which was, I imagine, very frustrating for him, because he wasn't able to put that away, which would have gave his mentality in the whole game, would have flipped it on his head too. And then when we go into the second half, he was actually the one that gave the ball to Seren, who then put the pass to Ellis, and then he gave the ball to Valentin, who put the ball to Manotas. So he was kind of like the starter of all these movements and the starter of all these balls that put the Dynamo in position of scoring, basically. So Quinteros was literally single-handedly included or involved in all of these goal scoring chances, basically. And also another good thing that you see is possession. The Dynamo had most of the possession in the first half. Actually, I have it here. It was 54%, 54.8% to be specific, and for the Dynamo, and then 45 for SKC. And then at the final of the game, when the numbers came back, we had 57 possession, they had 43. So you can see who literally dominated the game. And you can see that also on if you go actually on MLSsoccer.com, or if you have the MLS app, you can go into a recap or something like that, and it just gives you a bunch of graphs and stuff like that, and you can see actually graphs of passes, how the ball moved around. And if you look at the one that has the Houston Dynamo, you see a lot of balls going through, being filtered in the fore in the back, and also being used. Matias Vera and Seren were being used a lot. You also see a lot of movement from Quinteros. And you can see literally where most of our possession was. Something that I liked about Tab Ramos that he did that actually worked very well with Minnesota was coming out the back. With the new rule in FIFA is, that you don't have to leave the 18 to start the ball, or to put the ball in play from the goalie. It allows teams like this to be able to come out with possession of the ball literally from inside the 18 out. With SKC, it was a little bit harder because they were pressuring so high that literally we didn't have an opportunity to come, out the back. And the times that we did, they were very, very scary because they were literally on top of us. And also, I wrote it down, SKC plays super high, super compacted, and their goal came from great soccer, according to Matt Doyle. So let's talk about that for a little bit. For a little bit, but a split second. So this guy, Matt Doyle, who happens to be very smart, I guess he's and I don't know, but I follow him on Twitter. He just talked about MLS. He's obviously known as a reporter or something. I don't know. I should probably know, but I don't. But then this dude had the audacity to talk about SKC scoring a good goal against the Dynamo when the Dynamo beat SKC 2-1, and the Dynamo played better soccer, and their goal came out of a rebound. Bruh, come on, man. Give the Dynamo something. And it's funny because literally all the Houston teams that kind of get shit thrown on them. And I don't know why. I really don't know why Houston has become like even the Rockets, the Texans, like every single sport, like Houston has been thrown like shade all over the place. And the Dynamo can't catch a break either. We have been playing 3 really good games. We whooped Kansas City 5-2. We beat them here at home with just willpower and balls, basically. We played with Minnesota. I guess we're going to have to wait and see how we do with Colorado. But I think that Dallas game was probably going to be a little bit easy for us. Just because Dallas is just Dallas, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but, I don't think highly of Dallas, so I don't think we should have a problem there. So hopefully I don't bite my tongue on that one. But yeah, Matt Doyle, come on, bro. Do a breakdown of Houston goals. Like, I saw the second goal that we scored. We had better movement of the ball than they did when they scored their goal. Like, dude was talking about how the Kansas City broke our lines. Okay, yeah, you give them that. But you don't talk about how we broke their line of 5 in the back with Manotas coming in from like a sub 5 minutes before. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff. I just think a lot of people are not very they're very impartial when it comes to talking about some Houston sports. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna give them this. Their mids play very well, but having people like Busio and having people like Kinda, you would have thought that they would dominate the middle. But we have Seren, we have Vera that have been killing it, literally killing it these past 3 games, and they weren't a match. They weren't a match for us. So take that, Kansas City. Los tenemos de hijo, basically. So they're sons of ours, I guess. And I guess that's a translation. That's when like your team basically dominates them. You call them your kids. So the second half, we were down 1-0, so we came out stronger. We came out with more possession than the first half, but we were just finishing that final touch. Like I said, I wrote down Kinda, Busio. Their best players were literally the only 2 people that touched that ball. Kinda was the one that put the ball for them to break our lines and score from a rebound, but it is what it is. And then Busio, I always like those type of players that look for the ball. Like Vera, if you see him, he's always running, actually looking for the ball. Busio and he's very young. He's a very young kid, so he's actually one to keep our eye on in the future. He's probably gonna do big things in the soccer world. Minute 58, Ellis and Lacitera, also the combo from the previous game came in minute 58, and literally minute 59, Ellis scores a goal. Beautiful play also from, there was a bunch of touches here and there, boom, 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 boom. Darwin Quintero gets the ball literally all the time in the world, puts his head up like he should, chips it over to a well-timed run by Seren, who has been killing it. Literally 2 assists in the last 3 games. From Seren, that technically back in like last year, sometimes he wouldn't even play in games like at all, period. Like he would be lucky if he would get 5 minutes towards the end whenever we were parking the bus, right? And then so yeah, we got the goal, and then you can see also when we tied it up, Kansas City kind of brought in some good players, some dynamic players to kind of try to get that win. So they literally a couple minutes after that, they brought in Gerso and Russell, who happened to be really, really good players. Like they were literally looking for that win. But we brought in Manotas towards the end of the game, and we brought in who else did we bring in? We brought Kiki in also to kind of fortify that defensive. Also, Fumayor had a really good, a pretty good game. I'm not gonna lie, like it wasn't like perfect maybe, but it was a pretty solid game. Also, we'll talk about that later. I want to talk about literally I can talk about really every single player for like 10 minutes because they did such a good job these past few games. And then minute 80, Manotas comes in, minute 85. Beautiful ball by Valentin, literally to his forehead. Like, it could have been any more perfect. He literally grabbed that ball, put it on his forehead, and you know, goleadores are going to score, man. And you give them the ball in that, you know, in that 18, and they're gonna put it away for you. And that's what Manotas did. And you know, and that's and it's crazy enough because regular Dynamo would have parked the whole bus. They would have brought literally the bus from outside the parking lot and parked it on the goal. But they didn't. They kept possession of the ball. They kept moving it around. They kept playing it around, like, you know, just touch and come and go, bam, bam, boom. It was beautiful to like. It was beautiful to see. Who was it? I think it was Manotas in the corner of SKC. You know, when trying to waste time, you take the ball to the corner. It was just a beautiful sight of us kind of like attacking, or like, you know, in their side of the field, keeping the ball, controlling the ball, moving the ball around. It was just gorgeous. I was not afraid that we were gonna get tied in that game. Like, I was, but I wasn't really. So then, talking in the press conference, Tab Ramos talked about how this win literally is a win that you can build a team on. And what he meant by that is that whenever, you know, in the future, we're going to look back as this win being a decisive, like a win that turned around the mentality of the players. Literally, you know, you're down 1-0 against SKC, one of the best teams now in the MLS. And you came back and you flipped it around, playing beautiful soccer, beautiful touches, not panicking, beautiful balls, like, you know, controlling and keeping the ball, and dominated a team like Kansas City, who, you know, it's not easy, but we made it look easy. So it was very interesting, very, very awesome, like, to see, like, you know, as a lover of, like, the sport, when you see a team dominate like that, you're just like, oh, wow, Barcelona from Xavi and Iniesta type thing, you know? Like, it gives you flashbacks. I'm not saying the Dynamo is that. I'm just saying that it kind of gives you those flashes of greatness, you know? And then also he talked about competition for the positions. Like, literally, a thing that we all worried about was depth. Like, even me, like, in the beginning of the year, I was like, dude, we have no depth. But that's because we didn't have any trust in people. Like, literally, I didn't trust in Seren, to be honest. And now I would go to war with Seren. Like, I would take Seren to any match ever. Because I know I knew he had balls, but you just wasn't able to see it. Like, he didn't have that, you know, like, sometimes the players need confidence from the coach to, like, go out and give their all. And, like, you can tell that Tab Ramos has, like, tapped a nerve that, you know, kind of keeps him motivated to, like, go out and play, you know? You can see that in, you know, in those Ari Lassiter and Ellie's moves. You know, he, like, literally switches forward by forward, and, like, it's good competition, dude. Like, you have Ari, you have Manotas, you have Christian Ramirez. I mean, you can say you have Peña, but he's literally in the bench. And just, like, you know, you can throw in Ellis in there. Like, when you have those many forwards, like, literally, you have to score every chance you get. And that's why Christian Ramirez was kind of down on himself a little bit. You can tell, like his morale was kind of down a little bit, because he knows that, you know, they're stepping right behind him. Like, you know, they're right there, you know, trying to take his spot, and not of, you know, being mean or being a bad person, but, you know, they're trying to get a spot, and they're trying to get a starting spot. So it, you know, it keeps everybody on their toes. Competition brings, you know, wins. It brings good games. And also, talking about this kid, you know, Bahamich from Instituto, that the Dynamo seem to be kind of like trying to entice and bring him over here. Imagine you bring a number 9, like a legit, true number 9, that is killing it in the second division of Argentina, who happens to be, you know, a great league, even though it's the second division. The kid has scored, like, I don't know how, like 20-something goals in like 30 games or something like that. I mean, he obviously has been doing something right, and bringing another number 9, like, the competition is gonna be bonkers. Unless we're gonna start playing with like 2 number 9s, then I'm all down for that. But it's just gonna be good. It's gonna be crazy. But one thing that you will know for sure is that the players are gonna be giving it 150%, because they're fighting for their spots. But then also you have to think about, you know, there's Ellis and Manotas might be leaving. We still don't know. So I mean, if those two guys leave, then it kind of leaves some spots open for these other guys to compete. It kind of gives you a little bit of a breather because you don't have Manota's literally a legendary in the Houston Dynamo franchise basically, and Ellie's also like being a huge name. If they take him away, then it kind of gives them a little room to breathe. But also you still have to fight for your spot. But the substitutions by Tab Ramos were great. I think he learned a lot from that 0-0 against Dallas, where he made one sub and like in the last 5 minutes or so. And a lot of people kind of criticized him about it. And he had a point, that he was trying to make, that, he saw the team looking good. And can you turn it back on? And he saw the team looking pretty good and stuff like that. But I think he learned from that, and he saw that even if we're doing good, we can always improve. We can always do better. We can always give a fresh air. And I think I'm over here trying to tell him what to do, right? Or thinking that I know more than him. But I think he realized that, maybe we should do a little bit more subs here and there. But, that's good. That's a plus, right? And also, I talked about team depth. Formachor had a really good game. I wouldn't mind him start. I mean, he did a really good job. I wouldn't mind him starting as a center back with either Kiki or with Minor Figueroa. Sorry, I forgot his name. Shit. I wouldn't mind any of those three kind of like rotating, which I think that was the plan of Tab Ramos with this 4 games in a 11-day span, kind of like rotating the guys. But also I want to see what Bisama has if he's gonna come in ever. I want to see what the other wingers. I mean, Valentin and Lundy have been killing it. They've been solid defensively and they've been solid attacking. So I have like no complaints from those two. Vera and Seren, let's build them a statue right now. Both of them, like one on each entrance, and then we can do Bonnie Garcia on the other side just because he's a legend, and then we'll keep the other one for somebody else. I don't know, for whoever you want. And also, what about Quinteros? Quinteros, I mean, I think I've said enough. He has been the vital piece in this Dynamo controlling the ball. Every time that he gets the ball, I am relieved because 9 times out of 10 he's going to keep it and he's going to give a good pass. He'll have that one time that he'll kind of like trip over it because he's kind of going too fast and he'll lose it. But I mean, 9 times out of 10 he's doing something positive and dangerous, against the opposing team. So Quinteros has been super strong, super straight. Like in the beginning, I am going to admit it, I wasn't too sure of what Quinteros was going to do. But now, the way that he controls the ball, the way that he like gets the ball, stops the game, he may not be like a true number 10 or whatever. For me, a true number 10 is Juan Roman Riquelme. Like I am a Riquelme through and through, diehard. Like Juan Roman is God to me, basically, in a way. I know it's blasphemy, whatever, but like I am one of his like disciples in a way. My favorite player ever. So like in my head, when I think of a number 10, I think of somebody controlling the ball. I think of him. Obviously, he put the bar really high, but Quinteros is doing such a great job. Like he may not have the same qualities, but the qualities that he has, which is like a burst of speed at any point in time. Like I think it keeps everybody on their toes, which is what we need. We need people to be scared of the Houston Dynamo. Like we need people to be aware that shit, like we can get attacked by Quinteros. If not, Memo is there. Like Memo is gonna fight every ball, freaking tooth and nail, like every ball. So I think we have a very solid group, and that's amazing. I don't think I would have thought of saying this for this year. Like beginning of the year, I even said it, or beginning of this MLS is back thing, I even said it. 2020 for me was a throwaway year in a way, and I was just gonna wait for 2021 for Tab Ramos to actually complete his team. But I think with the moves that he has made and with the motivation that he has given these guys, like I think we have seen a whole new like Houston Dynamo. and I love it. Like, I am excited. I'm happy to watch these games. If you haven't seen any games, I like. Hopefully they don't let me down against Colorado, but like, we have been seeing probably the best Houston Dynamo soccer that we have seen in a while. And me, I'm not like I'm kind of new to the team. I was actually going through some pictures. I've been going to Dynamo games since 2013, but I was never really into it till like these past 2 years. And this is the best team, the best Houston Dynamo I have seen. Me and his like past 2 years. We saw a spark like that, in the beginning of the year last year, but kind of died down. I think the coach had a lot to do, and I think Tab Ramos has given such a boost of confidence to the players, and not only the players, but like the city. He talks to the people, he talks to the fans, he talks to the press. Like, he's such a cool, down-to-earth guy, and like, you can see it, and you can see that kind of giving out to, like, he gives that to the players, and the players kind of get that too. It's just good. And I don't know what else to say, but I like this Dynamo, and I think we have become a new Dynamo, and I think we have changed the face of the Dynamo, and I hope that this phase 2, that God knows who we're going to be playing, and I hope to God that we play like a Portland, Seattle, LAFC. I hope we play Galaxy again. I want to play these tough, quote unquote, tough teams like San Jose. I want to see if we can like measure up to like a Portland, to a Seattle. I want to measure up against a Columbus. I want to measure up against, I don't know, name a team that's doing good. I don't know who's doing good right now. NYCFC. I don't know. I really don't. I haven't kept up with the East, to be honest. But I know Columbus is killing it. But yeah, I'm very excited, and that's basically all I had. I had a whole bunch of notes, as you can see. But yeah, like I said, if you are looking for more women's soccer, I'm gonna have that down in the description below. But other than that, keep following the podcast, keep like talking and commentating and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to keep these coming out as soon as possible, and hopefully you guys can continue to watch this Dynamo who are playing like probably the best soccer that we've seen in a while. So keep up. It's kind of shitty that the games are only in specific channels. Hopefully we'll get to be in a national level soon, which that would be great. And we don't have to fucking be playing around with antennas and shit. But, I think for now, we got to do what we got to do to, get these games on TV and actually get to see them. So, and if you can't, just go out to a bar, wear your mask if you have to. But, just go support the guys. They're doing good. And I think we have found a new team in Tab Ramos. And I am very excited. So, other than that, I leave you guys. Thank you for watching, listening, whatever. Subscribe, like, whatever. Share with your sister and your brother and your mom too, and your grandma if she likes soccer. But QuattroQuattroDos, your boy Cristian's out. See you guys later. Y'all have a good one, and let's see what Colorado holds for us. So if you're listening this before Wednesday, is Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and if you're listening this after Wednesday, we're playing Dallas in the weekend. I think it's Saturday. So keep an eye out. See you guys later. I don't know why I did this, but I used to throw Southwest when I was a younger kid, so it just comes instinctively. But Houston holds it down. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.